I was already intrigued with the concept of Morrissey doing a covers record to begin with.
He ain't just doing a cover songs for cover song's sake, you know, like a Christmas album. You know, he actually really likes the songs.
The idea of making this covers album, I think, is probably something that was in the back of his mind for the last 10, 20 years, and he's probably relieved he did it.
California Sun and the song selection, I was surprised because it was all over the map.
I couldn't believe the list of, you know, desired covers, because it was just like flipping through my own record collection. The thing that excited me the most was how varied they were.
He didn't want it to be a direct interpretation of the songs, to have something different.
It's tricky with any covers album, because the thing you want to do is be respectful of the original version, but yet you want to reinvent it so it feels fresh, but it also feels like you.
Making sure that the arrangement and the reinterpretation has that resounding kind of Morrissey trademark. I mean, 90% of it is going to be his vocal. But of course there are production stylings that we may try to incorporate in an arrangement.
I do think that Morrissey is one of these artists that whatever he does, it becomes his own, and he definitely puts a stamp on it. That is the biggest line of continuity within the record, I think.
Morrissey is pretty much a dream to work with. He's very, very keen on the big picture. He has a good sense of the grand vision for an album, and he'll unveil that to you, and it's kind of up to you to help him get to that point.
There was a few that were harder to figure out than others, but there were some that just immediately happened.
I've come to appreciate any other artist taking my songs into their lives and working on it, loving it, giving it to their musicians, and then eventually to their audiences. I mean, that's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
The great thing about the direction for Moz sometimes is that it can be very vague. It can be as much as a hand gesture. That's all you'll get. There's one song on the California Sun album where Moz was talking about the feeling of the tune, and he kept doing this big grand movement with his hand and making a sound like rump, rump. And so we built the song all around the sound of bass fiddles doing this powerful big movement.
Some have tried to sell me all kinds of things.
So he doesn't necessarily talk to me in direct musical terms. It's very poetic, right? That's no surprise. But it can also be challenging. You know, I want to see the sun come out, let those rain clouds part. So when we get to the chorus, I really want to see the colors red, blue, and green. Okay, what does that mean? And it's part of my job to interpret that. And I go through my database and see what I can throw at it.
I love working with him. He's an amazing artist. I've had nothing but the utmost respect for him. Never been so impressed with somebody's complete dedication to music.
We're dipping into this treasure chest of pop of yesteryear, and the reason those songs survive is because there's a classicism to them. A lot of us in the band and Moz, we grew up with this literature. We take it for granted. It's obviously near and dear to us, but it's a tall order and a challenge to convey the wealth of this body of work.
You can't deny really good songwriting, and it doesn't really matter what you put on it, how you orchestrate it. If the core of the song, the melody, the lyric conveys something, it brings out something in the listener. I think that's the ultimate test and what is a good song.
I don't think there's really any key to a great song. They usually happen by magic. They're just there. They show up in the universe. No one knows why or how. It's a mystery.
I can't tell you what actually makes a great song. I don't think anyone can. You spark something in somebody's brain or heart or body that they identify with.
I think there's a number of elements to great songs, you know. A song doesn't necessarily have to be great as a song goes, just like a voice doesn't have to be necessarily great as a voice may go. Any song that reaches my heart, that's a great song to me.
A song can do something that a 400-page textbook can't do. So a song is really an incredible vehicle. If it's done well, it can deliver so much useful information that can really be effective over the years.
Music in general, there's no right or wrong. It's just taste. You like that song, I like that song. You can write a great song, but sometimes it has that extra thing where you could hear it 100 times and you're still not bored with it. It's still a great song. And I don't think you can plan that it ends up that way. You know what I mean? I like the fact that, you know, a good song lasts forever. And a lot of the ones that Moz covered are classic songwriting songs. And that's what I like.
These tunes are tunes that really meant a lot to Moz. They're really part of his being. And I think the great thing that he's saying there is if you're a fan of what I do, you should become a fan of these artists. He's opened the door up to a lot of artists who were very important in their time, and I think there are going to be some great rediscovery.
It's interesting because I think his interpretation, a lot of his inflections in the music and the way that he interpreted the melody, you can see a correlation between the way he sings now or has in his career with these songs.
I think the great thing about the Covers album is that it's really a glimpse into Morrissey and really shaped him to be the artist that he is now. So I think that anybody that's a fan is going to want to see inside that.